title of this presentation used to be in your agendas, moving into a secure cloud. Now it's journey towards efficiency. So I will hope that by the end of my presentation you see that these two notions converge and they mean the same thing. I'm going to do this different. The presentation I'm going to make is going to be traditional. That is, I would like to look at it from another angle. And that angle is to telling you a story. And the story is my story. So my name is Farhad Khalilnia. I'm the guy representing Penta. So what is my story? It starts during my early teenage years to let you know that I've always been a curious person. I'm very, very curious, and I always looked at details and very much attention to details. And I always liked things that were perfect. Okay, so in those years, I had my parents buy me this device. Not sure how many of you recognize this, but this is an HP 25 calculator. Very slick device at those times. The keys had this feedback, which felt very good. You know, I mean, you press a key and you had this feedback, and it looked very professional and something that was very well built. The specificity of this calculator was that one could program it. Okay, it was a programmable calculator. If you can see this key up here, it's program or run. Okay, so you would switch that key into the program mode and you could program this calculator, which is one of the first programmable calculators that were on the market, and I loved it. And I started programming this thing. The problem was that every time we switched this off, everything I had done was lost. Okay? Now, that was a bit frustrating. So what happened was that for the short story, they came out with this same calculator by adding a C after 2025, and the C stood for continuous memory. Okay? But before that 25C came out, my frustration subsided. So what I did? 41C, which existed shortly after that 25. And this calculator here was one of the state-of-the-art calculators in those times. If I'm not mistaken, it cost something like $500, not very far from $500 in those times, which in today's money is like 10 times more. My dad raising eyebrows, why is this guy not playing football and he's getting calculators and all of that. But this was very, very ingenious piece of machinery and technology. Why? Because I could program this calculator, and there were, what is not shown on this picture, these little magnetic cards that would register and record the programming that was in the memory. And then I had these different programs for different functions that I wrote that were kept on those magnetic cards. So every time I wanted to load one of those programs that I had written, I would just swipe the card inside behind this display, and it would just, little motor that would read that card in and input it in its memory. And it was great. And why did I do this? Because I liked efficiency. I wanted not to redo everything, reinvent the wheel every time I needed to do a function. So I bought this, and so it helped me. So for example, this function is a quadratic function equation that all of us have been through this during school. And so I knew that one of the questions in math exam would be draw and plot that quadratic equation, okay? So instead of doing the traditional way, I had this quadratic equation program in one of those magnetic cards that I would swipe during the exam, and it would give me this result. So I was very efficient, and I could just, in a matter of few seconds, draw the plot, using my programming skills in that. So I have been through these type of technology changes, from this calculator to this calculator, and obtaining results as I went through. That was in high school. I'm now going to fast forward a few years, okay? after this experience, but the same type of mentality and mindset of searching always for perfection, efficiency, and so forth. Went to university, got my degree in electrical and computer engineering, came back to Switzerland because I had left Switzerland to US, and went back to Switzerland and started working at a software company. No, first I was a teacher. So I started teaching for 5-6 years as a computer teacher. And I came back from university as a person who was a techie, okay? 2 + 2 is equal 4, and it cannot be 5. I mean, why is it that something cannot be exact? For example, the pi number is not an exact number, or it's not a finite number. For me, it was odd, okay? Why can't things be exact, perfect, square perfect? So I came with this mindset of being a techie guy, and during my employment, I started learning about business IT, that things could not be as exact as one wants it. So there can be variances. For one problem, there can be more than one solution, you see. So this is how I got into business IT. I started working for this company as a project manager, running projects, writing software. So my previous life has been in software, okay? And so what happened is that when I received 10 years of employment, reached that level, I reached that level where you get into the mid-career crisis, I mean, some of us might be able to connect with that crisis, Is it all, this is my destiny? I mean, am I gonna be living and working in this company for the rest of my life? What is gonna happen? So we decided collectively with my wife that, okay, let me launch myself into a business, okay? And I created this company called Penta Consulting. So what Penta Consulting did was, it has this French logo and slogan underneath, was computer advisory. Computer advisory, doing IT support, doing project management, going under the table and connecting printers, all of those things, all of the above, okay? I was the guy who resembled this person. So what did I do? I was playing the receptionist, I was receiving calls, I was being the CFO, doing the accounts, I was the CTO doing the IT part, I was the CEO, so I was a one-man show, okay? This company grew up to about 12, 15 persons, and our added value was to serve companies and have contracts with our companies. Support contracts with the companies. But the support contracts, I had about 15 customers. These customers were all happy, but there was a problem because it wasn't efficient, okay? It went away from my mindset and my goals to become efficient, because every time I did some work during at the customer's place, and as soon as I stepped out, oh, come back, support guy, come back, because there's also something else to fix. Oh, that's not working, okay? Not because I was doing wrong work, because the whole system, the entire system was not efficient. So there was a problem, and there was something to be done. So I thought a lot about this, and this was in the early year 2000, 1999, 2000, and I said, look, there is definitely has to be something better to do than running left and right, up and down, and just doing things, but not reaching that efficiency that I sought. So something more efficient to be done. I went to the States, back to the States. I visited some companies. In those days, it was called ASP. ASP stands for, the acronym stands for Application Service Provider, okay? So what that was is what is called today cloud, okay? So what is cloud? It's what we were doing 20 years ago, okay, ASP. And so I came back to the country, and I switched to this Penta Consulting into this now new logo, but the slogan was different. Okay, your applications everywhere, always. So that means exactly that your applications are in a secure place, yeah, and they can be accessible from anywhere. Okay, and they're always available. So this is a real picture of our first data center, actually. This is how we built this data center. And what is this data center? It's nothing more than a bedroom, okay, in an apartment where we had our office. So we tore away the carpet, and we put these, you might be able to see this raised floor, data center grade, okay? We purchased these racks, HP racks. These actually were the first flat monitors, 15-inch monitors that you could find in the market, okay? But everything was done, although it was not a data center, it was a data room, if you will. It's a white room. But it was very, very tidy, okay? So this is how I see. I mean, these mice, I put them like that, okay? Because I want everything to be very, perfect. So this was our first data center, if you will, and this is why it's in quotes, not a real data center, but this is where we started. Yeah? Back in 1999 in Nyon, Switzerland. We had an internet bandwidth of 122K, 28K. Wow, we are one of the very few who had that bandwidth, 128K, and it was protected also. And with that, we used to run about 500 mailboxes, exchange mailboxes. Yeah? And so this is how the business started. It was shifted and transferred into becoming a more efficient business. Okay? We didn't have to run anymore, left and right. And we were able to propose and offer much more stable products and services without the glitches and issues. Yeah? Because everything was controlled from a centralized place. Next, I want to show you this. How many of you know what this thing is? Okay, I'm sure many of you can recognize this device. Okay, I'm coming from this era where we had this machine. Okay, this is a telex machine. Okay, just for your information, telex machine has had this band here, where you would type in your letter, characters, whatever you had to compose, and this band would get punched with holes, okay? And then entire ribbon would represent your text in binary, okay? So when you wanted to replay this, you would just retake that ribbon and just run it through the machine, and it would interpret each hole and no hole, yes, no, the binaries, and it would type the letter corresponding to that combination. So that was how this was. And we know what was its successor. Okay, this is now a fax machine. How many of you are still using fax? I'm not using. I'm sure most of the audience today does not use fax. But we are all using these things now. So you see how technology evolves into efficiency. Okay, for us, shooting an email or WhatsApp or whatever is like a child's play. Okay, it's very, very easy. But this shows to you an evolution of how technology can grow. Many more examples. I'm sure all of us can relate to examples that you have lived with. I can give you another one. Do you remember how many know about Palm Pilot? Okay, this device which was called Palm Pilot. Palm Pilot became BlackBerry. BlackBerry became iPhone and Android, okay? So all of those things go into evolution and efficiency. The calculator that I showed you in 2 slides before became this today, okay? Now we have this calculator, a TI 94 Plus calculator, and many, many similar to those. You type in your formula, your equation, and you literally type in x squared, and it just shows you the square plus minus 5x plus 6 is exactly gives you the result graph immediately. Okay, the data center I showed to you is something today similar to what you see on the slide. This is back in 2012, our data center in Lausanne, Switzerland, which is a tier 4 data center, and it has changed drastically. All right, and also you see the evolution in our company logo, which also changed. Today, our company has no pretension of repeating the numbers of Microsoft, my predecessor. We are not in the same order of magnitude, but we are a global company, okay, a multi-million-dollar company, which has these presences. I have the pleasure of welcoming our partners with whom we are working in Dubai for our second data center here, who are in the audience, and thank you for being here. So these are different hubs and presences throughout the globe. Our customers come from 70 different countries, and they represent about 150 different clients in different sectors, mostly concentrated and focused in finance and industries where data protection, data sensitivity, and security are of our utmost importance. Why are we spread out like this? Because we give a lot of importance to proximity, okay? I don't know how many of you have seen a guy from Amazon coming and shaking your hand. Of course, their system is very successful, but what we prefer is human interaction, okay? We like to go see who you are you trusting in giving your data to. So this is, for us, the primary type of relationship that we can have with our customers. So proximity for us is very, very important. Why do I do that? Why all of that? Because I bring, as I've been telling you until here, constant efficiency to your companies. Okay? I would like you to be more efficient and ever efficient. Why do I do this? Because I want to assure to you that your IT resides in the best hands and in the most audited and used by the best practices. I want to make sure that your data is secure. This is something which literally happened, you know. I mean, you give your trust to the cleaning lady who can come in your office anytime, and especially when you're not there, okay, because they have to come and they should not disturb you. So they have access to all your assets, your most important assets, and they can hack into your system easily, okay? So this is what has happened. I want to make sure your data is secured. I want you to have the best IT experience, because we're not talking about good support. We also want to put our accent on the fact that you have a positive experience. I'm the guy who loves Mondays. I love Mondays, okay? Why? Because I strive into getting up, starting my week, over here, Sundays, if you will, okay? Just a matter of just want to get the message across that what drives me, what fuels me every morning, you know, I have this joy of, you know, bringing all of these experiences to people I know, to people I serve, and very much so I want you to save costs. This cost is something very, very important, which is a big, important part of the equation that I will tell you and talk about in the upcoming slide. And finally, I want you to gain time. How much is time worth? How can you give a value to time? Time is inestimable. It is worth. So this is what you should get. You should get, you know, efficiency and gain time. By that time, with that time, you can do many, many more things. You cannot squeeze more than 24 hours a day. So let's make that more efficient and make you gain time. These are the values I really believe in, Penta believes in, and everything we do, we would like to bring these values and give you these benefits of what we believe in. How do we do this? Well, how do we shift those ideas and those values into concepts that can be delivered? One area is expertise. Expertise, more than 150 international companies and over 20K users use our system. This is behind this services and expertise are people who are working, okay? My staff is working. Systems engineer, a whole palette of resources, each specialized in a different area of IT. If you talk about IT 15 years ago, one person could run your IT. Today, it has become so diversified, so specialized, whether it's security, whether it's systems, whether it's networking, whether it's cybersecurity, you know, a big topic that we just talked about, software maintenance, and so on. So they need many, many people to be able to be up to par. But expertise also talks about the fact that you have to be available, okay? So working with a company such as ours makes sure that the service is always there and available. The guy never falls sick. There's never anyone sick, never anyone who has a leave of absence. There's never anyone for you, in your eyes, who gets married, okay? Always available. So all services are available at all times. So this is an assurance that you would like to get. What else? Bank level security, okay? Security is a dilemma because the hackers are always a step ahead of us, okay? So you have to make sure that the security is always maintained and we're as close as those hackers as possible. By running external audits, by running penetration tests, this is something that we do very, very often. We work with the best of breed penetration companies every year, and these companies are those who participate in Las Vegas contest, okay? And every year they're on the podium, okay? So these guys work closely with us, and we have them do penetration tests on our system on a recurrent basis. And you can see these reports as being part of our clients. And of course, monitoring 24/7 these systems. The next packet that we have, which is very important, is the compliance. Companies who are in the IFC know what I'm talking about. Those of you who are under regulatory rules need to have an assurance that your IT is run using best practices. It's not coming from us, but it's coming from someone who can vouch for that assurance. And these are one of the big companies. In our case, it's EY, who does our quality assurance and make sure that we're always up to date. And the controls are verifiable, okay? The controls that we run to EY are 17 different controls in 17 different areas, okay? Security, segregation of duties, backups, DR, and so on and so forth. 17 of them are every year controlled by our auditors. And these reports are, again, available to you, and they're auditor ready. So the auditors that come and audit your company and question the IT part are happy. In terms of innovation, if we didn't innovate, then we wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to speak to you here today, because by innovation, you saw all those evolution in IT, evolution in technology comes from innovation. So our infrastructure has to be up to date, state of the art. Every time, every year, we have to recycle whether it's hardware, software, anytime, anything that is consolidated and approved has to be in our infrastructure, okay, and never old. Another part of the innovation is the digital transformation I wanted to talk about. It's a big topic. With digital transformation, we are able to create business process management type of software that streamline your internal operations. Not only internal operations, but also the interaction that your businesses have with your clients, okay? So these are the tools that we will be announcing soon in transforming your business using digital transformation. And all kinds of solutions. First and foremost, and I specifically left it for the end, service, okay? Think of us as a 5-star hotel, okay? Strive to giving you first quality, high-class service, okay? This is who we are. We are the boutique company, okay? We are not your supermarket. We are your high-class company where you have quality solutions and quality objects which do not wear off after a few months. Okay, so this is who we are. We are very flexible, multilingual, always available. As I said, proximity for us is very important, to be near you, to be able to speak to us about your issues, your concerns, that we have to be able to mitigate. Okay, so this is where we're coming from. Who is it? Contrary to what most of you think, this is not a customer. This is a Penta support guy who is proud to have a thank you for a customer. And this happens to us a lot. Okay? So we thrive by having a thank you, because when things are okay, it's normal. You know, it's very rare that you go and thank someone for something which is normal to you. But we do get, from time to time, you know, big thank yous, big appreciations, and this is our biggest reward. I can tell you and I can assure you that our best reward is not money. We don't think about money. Of course, we have to survive and we have to grow. But our biggest reward is your satisfaction. So this is our guy. I said I was going to talk to you about cost, so this is a slide. It's the next to last slide, I believe, talking about the difference between in-house IT and working with Penta. The statistics are real, and they come from our aggregated statistics that we have accumulated for the past 8 years. Okay, so it speaks for itself. What you can see here, that in traditional IT, you have a lot of about up to 40% cost in HR and admin and IT personnel and so forth. Yeah? So this is the biggest chunk. In our solution, this is translated in management and support. Okay, so this is what you're paying for to us. In terms of management and support, here, this is just the salaries and the payroll, right? Management and support for us goes up from 10 to 36%. The hardware is minimized, and sometimes the hardware cost is zero because you don't have to invest into any hardware. This is only the customers who have their own infrastructure who have to pay this. Otherwise, you don't pay for hardware. Next part is the software part. This is traditional licensing or corporate type of licensing with the vendors, with the software vendors. With us is a pay-as-use type of a scheme. And that's it. There are no hidden costs. We have no hidden costs. Okay. So ultimately, what happens is that we have a gain efficiency of about 40%. Now, this 40% of the IT budget is released to be used for other projects, for innovation, for growth, for marketing, for advertising, for pouring into new product, whatever you're doing. But this money is not negligible, and it's something that you will be able to use for other purposes. Yeah? Besides those, just looking from a cost perspective, these are the metrics. And so what we have done, and you might have noticed on those roll-up banners that we have in the room and also on the flyers that are available, we have very carefully crafted these different packages for you. Okay, we have this Penta 365, which is nothing more than Office or Microsoft 365 bundled with the Penta Touch with added value software and services that we have dubbed and labeled Penta 365. So this is that. It's very, we call it Economy Express because it's very easy, very intuitive and fast to deploy. Okay. It goes on Microsoft Public Cloud. Any business can work with it. Okay, so it's fast and go. Then this is our core product here, which we call Business Cloud. The Business Cloud is a set of applications and infrastructures ready to go. I mean, it's turnkey for any business can have its own private cloud and own private infrastructure in jurisdictions where are known, okay, it's not scattered around the world. That is, it is in this data center and you can go and touch your data if you want. It's there, it's nowhere else. It's being kept in a secure fashion, as secure as possible in a private cloud. Again, closed circuit to your company only. Ready to go, and the characteristics of this package is that the price is fixed. Okay, you have no surprises about price fluctuations. So it's a fixed price, predictable budget. You can, at the beginning of the year, you can budget your IT for the whole year. You know exactly, and you will fall within $1 or 1 dirham of that budget. Okay, so no surprises whatsoever. Custom-built is the third package for companies and enterprises who have their own infrastructure. They want to add servers, they want to remove servers, they want to add their own house software, in-house software, and they want to use us as running the IT as a business, okay? Either internally for their organization or offer services to outside companies. Okay? So this would be a flexible solution. You can throttle it, you can put the cursor with very little CPU. As you need more CPU, you can add CPU. Akin to Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services, that you can throttle the type of resources, IT resources, in terms of storage, CPU, RAM, and so forth. Okay? So you adapt it yourself, and the characteristic of this package is that it is managed by the customer, not managed by Penta. One thing what I would like to say about all of these is that Penta does not have access to your data. This is something that you need to know. Not because we are hosters that we allow ourselves to have access to your data. Your data is accessible by you only by the client and nobody else. The only time we have access to your data, and that's not a person, it's a service that runs to back up your data, or to duplicate your data to a disaster recovery site, okay? You need to understand that we are not interested in the content of your information. We are interested in securing the containers, okay? So we don't have access to your data, contrary to many companies to whom you outsource, and they have access to your data, such as Facebook, such as Google. Okay, they have access to your data. Not only they have access to your data, but they use your data and sell it to others, and for advertisement purposes. So they have. For us, it's a no-no. Okay, so that was the last word I wanted to mention for this presentation. Before I leave, I would like to thank first and foremost our co-hosts here present, Crow UAE, for making this this event possible together, and thank you very much. And most importantly, I would like to thank everybody who has attended this event and having listened to me, and thank you for your attention.